It's a good look for the girl them. It's a good look for dance hall. It's good for the Shenyang. Anyone who's lived in the UK, if you're my skin colour, you will be discriminated against. It's just a fact. Some of it is overt, some of it is undercover. I remember the first time that I was just like, wow, this is really bad, is when some riots happened. And I have always been like a straight A student, scholarship to school, and then the riots happened and I just left dance training. I've always been a dancer and I had a hoodie on. And the police stopped me and I was in a carriage full of white people on the tube and I was the one that got stopped. And I was like, of all these people, I'm probably doing the most. I'm at uni, I've left dance training, I just happened to be a black girl with a hood on, and the immediate assumption is that I had something to do with these riots that I didn't even know were going on. So yeah, for sure, if you're a black person in the UK, it's going to happen. It's crazy because my uncle lives here. My uncle is a war correspondent, and because Kenya is quite a calm country, it's a great base for him, and then he can go to war-torn countries and report about them. So I wanted to come. My two best friends are half Kenyan, so they were coming. We lived together in the UK, and they were coming home. So I was just like, okay, cool, I'm coming with. And it was literally as simple as that. I came here and I was like, okay, this place rocks. I'm staying. I'm not going anywhere. I had no reason. I just landed. I found it so beautiful. I found the people really easygoing. I hadn't even been to Coast. Like, you know, so many people are sold on Coast, which also when I went to Coast, I was sold on Coast. But I hadn't even been to Coast. I'd just been to Nairobi. And within a week, don't ask me why, I was like, I'm hooked. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Awesome. Kick me out. I dare you. I think, unfortunately, because of my British accent, a lot of Kenyans have the assumption either that I'm bougie, couldn't be the more opposite, or that, and I also think it's something to do with the fact that I'm mixed race as opposed to like black. People think that maybe I'm not so connected with my African side. So I think those two things I fight all the time, because I'm from the hood and I'm proud of being from the hood, and some people haven't chosen to live in this continent. I have chosen to live in this continent. I couldn't be more prouder of being an African.
Because many people currently are trying to move out.
So many people are trying to just leave and go to the States or go to Europe, and I'm like, the beauty is in this continent. The future is in this continent, and I definitely think Kenya is a hub of East Africa, and yeah, it's just a good place to be in. So it's, for me, I don't call myself fitness, it's wellness. It's something slightly different, because fitness is very much about just your physical. For me, it's everything. It's how do you feel about yourself. It's can you afford your rent. It's are you eating good food. It's can you sleep at night? It's all of those things. So for me, I never describe myself as a fitness instructor. I always describe myself as a wellness instructor. And that started when I was young. So I started dancing when I was very, very young. I think I was 9 or 10. My mum's rules has always been, you have to do as many extracurricular activities as possible. You have to be, you know, don't just go to school and come back. I want you to, you know, do things, find out where your talent lies. So when I used to go to school, I went to an all-girls school. I was always very body confident. And it used to really upset me that friends of mine who were super, super confident had these weird issues. Like they had body confidence issues, they had lows, they had highs, and that just never was my experience. And I think it's because I always used to look forward to dancing. I always had something outside of school, so school didn't used to stress me that much, and it'd be a way for me to get rid of all of my energy, and then I could come and I could focus on my education. So from then I was like, well, there's something really magical in this thing called dance. Combination of the music and the movement really made me balanced, and I always used to want to give that to someone else. It used to break my heart that people who I care about didn't have that same feeling about themselves. So it started there, and so that's why it's always started with dance for me, and it's always been about wellness, because that was always the mission behind it. So when I started teaching dance, I started teaching for that reason. Feel good about yourself, calm. And the great thing about dance is you have to just be a bit open and, you know, yeah, exactly, open to trying different things, especially dancehall. If I'm going to ask you to twerk, you need to feel a little bit, you know. So it was always about that.
What's your favorite dance move?
Dance move?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
No.
What are some of your top dance moves?
I can't even answer that, but I really like dancehall, especially old school dancehall moves. I love the fact that Nigerian music and dance have become so interconnected. So you have things like shaku, have things like azonto, I know that's Ghanaian. You have things like, you have moves that are part of the music and then it becomes part of the culture. I like that. I don't even know where to begin because I've had so many. Like, I'm such a goofy human being. Like, I don't take myself too seriously, I think, let me talk a little bit about after I came to Kenya and I had just been dating my partner for, at that time, like a year and a half. And you know what it's like. Like, we had gone to a high fashion event. By that time, people knew who we were and there's a lot of, pressure. You know how you media houses are, you put us under so much pressure. Yeah, I'm turning it on you. You put us under so much pressure. So I made such an effort, like I had a new dress made, I had shoes made, and not made, I got new shoes. The shoes were gorgeous. The dress was gorgeous. After about an hour, I realized I can't walk in these shoes. But we're like only an hour into the event and we're meant to stay for 3-4 hours. When I tell you I was gully creeping around that entire place, like I was literally, like I looked like a crab. So to this day when we go out, my partner's just like, are you gonna be gully creeping in these shoes? Like if so, take them off from now because I'm not walking around with a crab. Again, it was so embarrassing. I had to sit down and people would come up like, hi, how are you? And just the thought of standing up to say hi was so heartbreaking because I was like, oh my gosh, Jesus, let me stand up. Okay, hi, how are you? Let me sit down again. Awful experience. So, I think for me, anyway, everyone's entitled to make their own decisions regarding their body, and I don't think it's anyone's business, the decisions that someone else makes regarding their body. But what I said was, I've seen the genes in my family, and children don't do us very well. So when I look at my aunts and my uncles, and their boobs are like by their hips, not my uncles, my aunts, and their boobs are by their hips, I just don't want that to be my story, Yeah. So I've always said, I not reconstruction or anything, just put me back to how I was before, and then I'll be perfectly happy. So yeah, no, I stand by that. I think, have I ever had run-ins with fans? No. The reality is that people who say nasty things online are never going to be brave enough to talk to me face to face. And I come at it hard. So I would dare someone to come and say to me face to face something that they'd be brave enough to type. And that the reality is people who do these typing things, they're cowards. They would never. In fact, that's normally the person who you'll see and they'll be like, hi, oh my gosh, I love you guys. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier on. That two-facedness, it just doesn't run with me. Second of all, I would consider myself really blessed because if you look at other people in the social media, the amount of hatred I get is so tiny in comparison to the support and love I get. When you compare me with other social media people who get like 80% hate, 70% hate, 50% hate, I am nowhere near there. So yeah, that doesn't really bother me. I can count on one hand the amount of times that we've had like really, really negative outcry. I'm really blessed. Overwhelmingly, the media has been on my side, and overwhelmingly, fans are on my side. And what I say when people are not, don't follow me then. I don't care. In the UK tour, and then my friends are sending me like they've bought their tickets, they're sending me screenshots, and I was like, yeah. I thought we were friends. Why are you sending me? I do.
And how was your reaction?
It was super exciting because I have been in the dancehall industry my whole life. That's how I started dancing. It's been a music and a culture that I've pushed for a very, very long time. I love the fusion. I love how Africa and the Caribbean are becoming much more together. So I remember just feeling, look, finally this is an opportunity for me to spread positivity, good vibes, good energy. I love that that's what the entire station was about. I mean, it's called Vybez. It's supposed to be about, but yeah, exactly, good vibes all day. The media is so full of negativity, not to name other names, but so many shows thrive on trolling. That's what they do. They thrive on, oh my gosh, did you see what so-and-so was wearing? Oh my gosh, and we make a very conscientious decision not to do that. Everything that we put out is positive. So I was just happy that I got to be in a space where we were doing what I believe in. Henna and I laugh about this all the time because actually we hadn't met before we started working together. And it's always, exactly, people are always really shocked at that fact because it's always really nerve-wracking when you're put and you're supposed to have a relationship with someone, especially someone that you've never worked before. And like I said, I'm keep it 100, so I would really struggle to fake a friendship if I didn't feel it. And I count my blessings every single day because Henna and I, it's like we met and before we were co-hosts, before anything, our friendship came first. And I remember so many people commenting like, wow, you guys really, really have chemistry. So it was like, what a relief. Henna and I, our relationship on air, we do not fake it. It's a genuine relationship. We chat, we crack jokes, we have a very, very similar sense of humor. We stand for very, very, very similar things. He, like me, likes to keep it 100. It's not about the whole fake lifestyle. So yeah, we've been super, 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 super blessed. Mind your mind. When you feel good, you do good. So it's okay to say I'm not okay. It's okay to say I need time. It's okay to say I don't want you in my space. Because the better you are for society.